Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans across the nation. Heck, movie fans across the nation and around the world. This is Tim May with the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. Clay, we're doing it again, man. The Miracle on Bethel Road is what we're calling these shows. But make sure you speak into your microphone because I want people to hear you clearly.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to be talking about the college football playoff just briefly. We're going to have some sound from Ryan Day's press conference earlier this week. Just talking about a bunch of things, including recruiting, the numbers game that Ohio State is playing and kind of reshuffling as it goes. Of course, included Mason Wilhelm being added to the class over last weekend. Our buddy Matt Wilhelm's kid, one of several guys who committed to the 2026 class. Of course, Ohio State is getting ready to play UCLA.
Yes.
And Nico Iamaleava, who we'll talk about a lot on Friday in the Friday show. It's not like we're doing a pregame show, but it's just kind of like this is the number one team in the country with a bullet. So we talk prohibitively. We talk about Ohio State football and stuff, but we also talk about former Buckeyes on occasion, not the least of whom is Maurice Hall, who you had got an interview with. His debut, is that what you call it? What do you call it? No,
the movie premiered in LA on Monday. It will debut here on Thursday night with a red carpet.
And the name of that movie is?
The hashtag Worst Christmas Ever. It's a comedy. You're going to see the trailer. It'll set it up for you. And you can just see the pride in him bringing it to Columbus. It's a big kick for him. And I can't get into it. He swore me to secrecy, but there's another project that's brewing, and I think this young man he is climbing the ladder, and we talk about how much that being an athlete and embracing the grind has enabled him to keep on keeping on in Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a vision for yourself. You got a dream for yourself. Pursue, man.
That's it.
And he's pursued it. And, he was always one of the great fellows we ever got to talk to when he was at Ohio State.
Humble.
And as I remind people repeatedly, even ESPN, when they first made their Youngstown Boys documentary about Maurice Clarett and the running back star of that 2002 national championship team as a freshman, and Jim Trussell, when their first cut had intimated that Maurice Clarett scored a winning touchdown against Michigan in 2002. Incorrect.
Right.
That was Maurice Hall.
Was that Youngstown Boys?
Youngstown Boys, yeah. But anyway, is there an echo in here? But I'm just messing with you. But the bottom line is Maurice Hall, one of those great young men from right here in the city of Columbus. And it takes a while to make it big sometimes, but he's pursuing that. And
he came with his Columbus Public School sweatshirt on.
There you go.
He got off the plane, and he got here no problem, direct flight. And we were going to meet at 7. It ended up being 7:30. He was in line for a rent-a-car from 4:50 to 7:15.
Oh yeah, I mean
that's the way it is now.
Yeah,
crazy.
I guess the government furloughs have something to do with the rental car. The plane got here on time, but the rental car took forever. It's like me when I showed up in Seattle at like near midnight, and our flight was late, and we get there at midnight, and I got my car 90 minutes later.
Yeah,
I'm talking about PDT, Pacific Daylight Saving Time, not ET, which I was on. So you can imagine I got to my hotel about 4:00 in the morning before Ohio State played Washington, but I got there late on a Thursday night, early on a Friday morning. But yeah, nothing frustrates you more than that. But yeah, Maurice Hall getting his just due for just hanging in there. And
that's it,
man. It's just so scattershot whether you make it big in Hollywood.
Well, he's, as I told him, it was like television. I mean, you're just multitasking. I mean, he's a producer, he's a writer, he's a director, and he's
got to be it all.
And so he said, especially when you're making independent films, low budget films, you've got to have people who can work hard and do it on a shoestring
and believe in you.
There you go.
Exactly. And the best thing is to write a movie script for yourself and then star in it like Sylvester Stallone did.
Well, and so many times he said, I kept hearing you can be the security guard, you can be the garbage man, you can be the whatever. And he said, I want to be a normal person. You know, I want a normal role.
Okay.
And so that's exactly what he did. He wrote his own script
You can
with the help of others.
You take what you can get sometimes, though, just to get your foot in the door. Get one line in a movie so you can get your SAG card. I don't know if they require that still or not, but
Otis Winston is doing the very same thing.
There you go. So we'll get more into that with Maurice Hall, obviously one of one of our favorite people of all time. Where did he go to high school, by the way?
Brookhaven.
And where's Brookhaven now?
Brookhaven is gone.
Brookhaven used to be basically across the street from DeSales.
It was.
DeSales is playing Massillon this week, and Brookhaven is all about old-time players getting together, talking about the way things used to be.
I used to tell my middle son, who was a basketball player, I'm going to drop you off at Brookhaven in the summer, and then we'll find out if you can play.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes, all right, Dad, let's go.
Yeah, the white men can jump.
Yeah.
Anyway, real quick, before we get into some sound from Ryan Day earlier this week. I just want to talk. No, it's not really a poll. Well, commissioners' rankings, right. College football playoff commissioner rankings. And, number one is Ohio State with a bullet. And then you got, right on down the line, Indiana. This is the new ones that came out this week. Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama. That's your top four. If it was being done today, those guys would get to bye in the first round. Of course, there's a lot of football to be played. And then you got Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon. Those guys would be hosting games if you went strictly by this. And then Notre Dame, Texas, Oklahoma, and BYU would be your last four in, so to speak. That's your top 12 as we speak right now. The shakeup, if there was really, was Texas Tech jumping ahead of Ole Miss instead of having that block of SEC teams 3 through 7. You've got Ole Miss now. I mean, you've got Texas Tech, 3 through 6. You've got Texas Tech at 6. Texas jumping to 6 after they beat BYU, and BYU only fell to 12th, which is interesting with that conference. But the bottom line is, when they were talking about it the other night, the lead commissioner on the group basically referred to, almost said, Ole Miss, really, who have you beaten? And the argument is, well, LSU, but then who else have you beaten? Yeah. Meanwhile, Texas Tech just beat BYU, which was an undefeated team, knocked BYU out of the unbeaten ranks. So I think that shows a little bit of a crack there, And of course, Ole Miss finishes with what? Florida, and then then the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State, your beloved Mississippi State Bulldogs.
I am hoping against hope that they can somehow win in Columbia, Missouri. Drinkowitz, I think, is distracted, and they're coming off a very humbling loss to A&M. By the way, last week you asked me what was yours, and I had IU at number 1. Certainly I couldn't do that anymore after that close call in Happy Valley. I would have OSU 1, A&M 2, IU 3 after that 27-24 miracle in Happy Valley. So, A&M to me, they get it done on both sides of the ball. Marcel Reed's a shifty little quarterback, and I like where they're headed. So anyway, we'll see if the collision course still happens. Ohio State's got to negotiate 3 games. IU the same. So Ole Miss, number 7, Kiffin still hanging in there. I mean, they're in, no doubt about it. And it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of it.
Well, there's doubt about it. They still got to win.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to beat Florida. They're going to beat Mississippi State.
Yeah,
sadly.
I'm just listening to you babble on while I'm looking up something.
What are you looking?
We'll call this. By the way, Mac Rhodes is the commissioner. The power that be there, spokesman. But I'm trying to find what he said. This was interesting what he said about Ohio State, because he really didn't talk about Ohio State till the very end of the latest press thing, and that's because what do you ask about Ohio State, right? But
so it gets real in depth, right?
Yeah, and he just what he was asked about, the separation basically between Ohio State and Indiana and Texas A&M, and basically what he said, you asked about Ohio State and Indiana again, the committee really clear consensus in the room. Ohio State, the number one team in the country. And he says, felt like the most complete team, really good defensively, particularly up front. Offensively, again, really good. Their offensive line play is outstanding. Yeah. They have the great playmakers in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. The quarterback, saying right now, leads the country in passing efficiency and completion percentage. Those are all reasons why Ohio State, again, is a clear consensus for the committee for them to remain at number one. He says, I apologize I didn't get to them that, as early as I should have. But the point is, it's when they're looking at the schedule, as he said, of Texas A&M and Indiana, he goes, because you mentioned those two again, he goes, just two of the metrics, those teams are very, very close. Okay. I mean, extremely, extremely close. When we look at those two, again, defensively, Indiana, we give them the edge over Texas A&M. Like I've been saying, there's only one team, and I'm not even sure they're playing that great a defense now in the Southeastern Conference. This is me talking, which is Texas. There's not a great defense in the Southeastern Conference other than possibly Texas. But that gives them the edge over Texas A&M, he said, Indiana. And then we give Indiana certainly the edge. Offensively, they're the top scoring offense in the country. Their defense is ranked number 2 in the country. So, you can look at the Big Ten and say goofy things like I think Joey Galloway said, he kind of looks at the Big Ten and the ACC is kind of common, the same this year. And I know Kirk Herbstreit had a little bit of a –
Herbie fell out.
Yeah, we all saw that video, and I agree with Kirk Herbstreit. You can do a lot – you can look at a lot of conferences and see the top heaviness of those conferences.
There's a lot of one-loss teams in the ACC. Maybe that's what he was getting at.
Well, no, but the what he's getting at is he was getting at the SEC is has much more strength to it through the ranks, and I don't believe that. I mean, I'm not a buyer of that. And the bowl games last year. Okay, well, the bowl games, they don't matter. I mean, that's what they always brag about when they do hold sway. Yeah. But the bowl games last year, when the Big Ten went 5-1 against SEC teams in the bowl games and or the playoffs. I mean, Ohio State went 2-0 against SEC teams in the playoffs, Texas, and of course Tennessee. The bottom line is, I think there's a big difference between the Big Ten, the top 6 or 8 of the Big Ten, and the top 6 or 8 of the ACC. And so this will all sort itself out, as I like to say. But it was interesting to hear those words come out of Mack Rhoades' mouth about Ohio State in the committee's mind being the clear number 1. No debate between 1 and 2. The debate's between 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, which is 4 is Alabama with 1 loss. So, like I said, a lot of football remaining to be played. And let's get into this. There's also a lot of recruiting to be had. And it's the interesting thing.
It's the lifeblood.
Okay. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's another statement by Clay Hall.
I mean, Jimmy's and the Joes, you got to have them.
Yes, right. But, as Ryan Day was asked by Jeremy Birmingham at the beginning of the press conference, near the start of the press conference this week, is like, Ohio State seems to have changed from in the middle of the summer, they were sort of like slow playing, and now all of a sudden they've come on and it looks like they've changed really their thoughts on how big the signing class will be. And it's pretty interesting, as Ryan Day says, it's the way the transfer portal has been changed now until that one time right there in the middle of January when Ohio State hopes to still be playing football or just getting done with football and playing for another national championship. It kind of made them change their priorities to a certain extent on what the size of the signing class was going to be, because you still want the most of your football team to be developed in-house, intramural. And so let's see what Ryan Day had to say about that.
Well, we're trying to make sure that we're in a good place, obviously, with our roster as we head into December, and then you have the portal, and with that, there's a lot of challenges, as you have retention, and then you have guys who are at other schools, and we want to make sure that we're continually recruiting high school players that we can develop. And there's a little bit based on how far we go this season and what happens, that will adjust sort of how we ended up getting to our number at the end of the year. But we want to make sure that we're flush at all areas, and that's at the high end, in terms of like the starters and the older guys, and then certainly with the young guys as we're developing them. So we want to make sure that the way that we're building the roster is the right way, and a lot of it has to do with the high school guys coming in. So we're trying to project it the best we can, but obviously it's floating around and it's a moving target.
Related to the one portal window, maybe like kind of requiring you to add more in high school ranks?
Yeah, I think that's the case because you can't be short. And I've said it before. I mean, whoever plays past when the portal closes, late into the season is going to really be at a disadvantage because there's no way to replace those guys once the 5-day window opens after the final game. So, we all have to make sure that we're not short. That's our job. So we're going to make sure that we're in good shape here and we're flush.
But yeah, I mean it's changed everything. It's changed a lot of things about the way Ohio State likes to do business. Well, they kind of got used to like having the first transfer portal and some guys trickling away and maybe picking up a couple of guys for the winter training, and then after the spring picking up a couple of more guys. And but Ohio State's lost very few fellas they were counting on as the years go on.
Right.
And
very little defection.
Yeah, I was almost going to sing Part of Carmen, Ohio there, but I didn't. I got lost in my own thought there. But the bottom line is seasons roll.
That's right.
Through their friendship.
But the phrase moving target, it feels like everything in college.
It is, man.
Is a moving target.
You got to be flexible. You got to be a skeet shooter, man. And, Mark Pantoni and his group doing a hell of a job for Ohio State and stuff. And, hey, let's move on because, one of the more interesting things about Ohio State and its offensive line play, for example, has been they didn't really have to go to the well until this past week, really, with Philip Daniels missing.
In terms of backups.
In terms of backups and stuff. And of course, Ian Moore started at right tackle for Ohio State, played very well, according to Ryan Day.
Right.
But then also at right guard, that continues to be a question mark a little bit. And you saw a little bit of Ethan Onianwa in there, the guy we talked about on Monday, but the guy who was brought in expressly to be the looked like going to be the starting left tackle. And, all of a sudden we looked up and Austin Saraville won that job in preseason camp. And so now what happens to Ethan Onianwa? And, he kind of drifted off. He was a transfer from Rice. And we heard Ryan talking about Max Clare having a little bit of an adjustment problem going from Purdue to Ohio State in terms of, I don't know, I'll just use the word intensity that's expected in practice as well as everything else. Not that Max Clare wasn't trying. That's not the point, but took some adjustment to adjust to the Ohio State way of doing things. And got to say, probably the same thing happened with Ethan Onianwa, as prized as he was when they brought him in. But now, all of a sudden, he's kind of getting into that picture. Well,
he should. He came with a price tag. Was he 6'6", 320 something?
Yeah, he looks the part. But, you don't want him to just be all airport.
Nope.
You want him to step up. And with Tegra Shabola, he's had his challenges at right guard. Anybody can see that. And Josh Padilla was missing on this past Saturday, who had worked his way into that conundrum. Who's our right guard, as the coaches would say it. He had worked himself into that conundrum, and all of a sudden he couldn't go. He wasn't even on the trip on the trip to Purdue, and Ethan Onianwa got in there. I think Gabe Van Sickle might have played some too, but the bottom line is now Ethan Onianwa was kind of like getting into the picture. Let's put it that way. But
into the mix.
Yeah, let's get to what Ryan had to say about that.
He's an option, and he played in the game. And I thought he had some good movement in the run game and did some good things. So we'll see how this week goes. But we're going to keep pushing the envelope on it and keep grinding on it. But he did have some good snaps in that game, and hopefully we can get him to play at a certain level that we need him to play in order to finish the season the way we want to. Josh, we're expecting a full week from Josh. We'll see how today goes. But he and Phil both, we'll kind of see as the week goes on, but we're expecting a full week of work out of those guys.
Yeah, pretty interesting because like I said, Philip Daniels got banged up. I mean, there was Ohio State without one starter, and then a guy who had worked himself into the mix at right guard, and Ohio State persevered. So going into this week, I mean, I think, we'll get to it in a little while, Ryan, how he feels about the offensive line, because a lot of people still have questions about it. And Bill Rabinowitz asked him about that later on in the interview and stuff. But right now you're waiting. They're waiting to take care of some recruits, like I said. And the bottom line is, this is the interesting situation now is a lot of teams are building through the portal, transfers, et cetera. Ohio State still prefers to build the core from high school, and then, but then, like Ryan says, you got to be right now. You're got revenue sharing going on.
The one shot.
Yeah,
but portal.
Well, yeah, but you got revenue sharing going on. I'm talking about as the future goes.
Okay.
You got revenue sharing going on. You always want to be developing players because Ohio State is benefiting from that right now. The bubbling up, as I call it, of guys who've been in the program for a while, and now it's their turn, and they stuck around, and they were quality players to begin with, but they had quality players ahead of them playing. And, and so you still see some guys in the program right now who are waiting for their shot in the same regard. But let's get to what Ryan had to say about that aspect of things. Yeah, and this is coming after a question from Bill Landis, one of our favorite guys. But here's what Ryan had to say.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a philosophy. Not that we're not trying to get good players, but I think a couple things come into play. One, there's going to be changes in college football year in and year out. That's the first thing, based on how guys play, based on coaching staffs, based on a lot of things. The second part of it is the evaluation of their senior year. So when you take those two things into consideration, the projection was that last spring we were going to be a lot different place in November and December than we were in June. And I think the biggest part is we had more information about the players, because with the amount of resources that we're investing in these young men nowadays, you better be right. That's the most important thing. In the past, you could bring in whoever you wanted. Maybe they were ranked high or whatever. If they didn't work out, they didn't play, or maybe it took 3 or 4 years for them to get on the field, or maybe they tried another school. You can't have bad investments anymore. I mean, it's really important. This is critical decisions, and so we want to make sure that we're turning over every stone and making sure we're right in our decisions. Not that it's 100%, but we got to do our part and do our due diligence to make sure that when we evaluate these guys, we have all the information that we possibly can to do what's right. So by the university.
Yeah, the interesting thing there was, these, you can't have bad investments anymore.
It's like playing the stock market. Yeah.
But see, I mean, these guys, it's a different day, man. These guys are getting paid, and I'm not just talking about NIL. They're having revenue sharing. I mean, one of Mark Pantoni's major jobs is deciding who gets what and how much and when.
Yeah, he goes, not so popular anymore.
Right, and it's just a very interesting time. Let's put it that way. Transition from the good old days to the even better days once they get everything ironed out. But I still marvel at this. You're not splitting the atom here, or whatever analogy you want to use about something being extremely complicated, but this is complicated. It's kind of like putting the atom together for these major college football coaches and their staffs, and keeping people happy, and
85 of them
pursuing it. You got to have, and not being afraid to bring in somebody who will step in front of somebody else. And you understand the rancor that could have in the ranks.
Right.
Didn't mean that to be almost a pun, but it was. But the bottom line is, it's just so much going on for these coaches and stuff, along with, by the way, they're the number one team in the country with a bullet, and trying to deal with all that and trying to repeat as national champions. It's very interesting. And by the way, but getting back to that,
with the bullet.
But like Ryan Day talks about, it's Okay, now we're talking about recruiting. Then down the line, you get a question about the big hits from Caleb Downs and how those big hits early in that game at Purdue kind of set the tone. And he had an interesting comment about that.
Setting the tone, especially early in the game. I mean, it's the one difference about football than any other sport. And you got to set the tone early in the game and let them know you're there. And that's a part of our brand. That's a part of our identity is playing physical. And whether it's guys running and hitting, winning at the line of scrimmage, finishing guys downfield, that's what we want. We come in here on Sundays and watch the clips. I mean, those are the first ones that we show. Those are our culture clips. Starts in preseason and it's got to go all the way throughout the season. Because if that's our identity, it's got to be that way every week. And so that's it. And this time of year, we got to be seeking contact. We got to be hunting it up.
I love that line.
Hunting
this
it
time
up.
of the year, we got to be seeking contact.
I like hunting.
We've got to be hunting it up.
Yeah. Culture
Interesting.
clips. Culture clips.
This is the quarterback whisperer, as they like to call Ryan Day early in his career at Ohio State.
Yep.
And you can, man, when he starts talking about the physical side of football, he really gets into his element. I mean, remember Johnny Dixon talking about him being fierce competitor, intense.
Right.
That's what Ryan Day is seeking from the players who are currently on the roster.
Well, I think
and you hope to bring in the kind of guys that play the same way, down the road. Go ahead.
No, I just think that's come to. It's certainly apparent in that final game when they talk about, Ben Buchanan used to say an inch is, you get an inch here. It's just so much harder to gain an advantage and move the football and impose your will in that game. And I think he knows that's the only way you win it now.
Yeah. But the thing is, like you said, you don't go in there the last day of the regular season and will it. It has to be part of your makeup. And I think Ohio State's been physical for a long time.
Yep.
I don't throw it all on that. I just think sometimes, the other team just gets your number and plays with it for a while, half a decade or so.
Isn't it amazing?
It is amazing
how cyclical this thing is.
I've covered this team since 1984,
Yeah.
Earl Bruce, his last, Earl Bruce had a winning record against Michigan.
What, 5-4?
John Cooper did not, 2-10-1. Jim Trussell did, lost one game
9-1
on the field at least.
Right.
Luke Fickell, they lost that one game, but it was one of the most incredible competitive games you've ever seen in terms of offense.
It was like 40-34 or something
with
like
Braxton
that.
Miller and what was the quarterback? Laces was his nickname for Michigan. What a show that was! And of course, Urban Meyer went undefeated, and of course Ryan's dealing with this situation. He's 1-4, won his first game, but then COVID hit and they didn't play, and then the last four. We'll be talking about that a lot more in a couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is you don't just build your team for that one game anymore, though. I mean, that's the folly when people think about that game. It matters, but Ohio State won a national championship last year despite losing to Michigan for the fourth straight year. Believe me, anybody, I would make that trade in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that question is asked all the time.
Yeah,
you want to go 4-8 and beat Michigan and be out of the picture, but it's still big, it's still huge, it's
playing physical has always been the name of the game in football, and so much so that they've had to rein it back. Football has had to rein it back. But the bottom line is
physicality.
Caleb Downs with a couple of big hits on Saturday set the tone, as Ryan said. Are you going to stop every team 3 and out? Are you going to stop every team 3rd and 10 and out? No, that's stupid to even think that way. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is the way Ohio State took over that game and ran something like 70 something plays. And until the last drive, Purdue had like 16 plays in the game.
Huge disparity.
Are you kidding me? Right. I mean, that's called domination. Right. And no matter what the final score said, and the final score was what?
34-10.
34-10. That's domination with a capital D. You just can't spell defense or domination without the D. But anyway, But let's move on. That pace of play, for example. I mean, it's very interesting because Ohio State's been pretty methodical for the average about 62, 63 plays a game. They got a lot more on the game at Purdue because they dominated so much defensively. But let's get to what Ryan has to say. Even with him, it's been a little bit of a change because we always know they can hit the gas pedal.
That's it. But he was trying to conserve here the last few games.
Well, yeah, but the fewer plays you put your players in jeopardy on,
right,
better off you are. If you have a defense that's dominating, control the pace of the game. Forget about scoring 100 points. We'll put 100 on them. Forget about scoring 100 points. Basically dominate the game.
Yeah, and he wants his anchor leg to be as strong as week one.
That's a good line you said, his anchor leg.
The anchor leg.
I like that.
That baton.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. We're not talking about fishing. But here we go. Let's go to what he had to say about that.
It's I think we had over 70 plays this past week, so that was great to get. And the defense, I think, had 37 going into the last drive. So there's a lot of good there. But I think, it's kind of the way, we operate. We operate out of the huddle. And I think when you look at it from the beginning of the season, you look at it from a 20,000-foot view and you say, well, we can cut down on the number of plays to keep our team healthy and fresh towards the end of the season. That's important. But once you kind of get in their rhythm of huddling, you get used to that. And the guys get comfortable with that as opposed to the other part of it. But we also need to be able to do that when we need to do it. And when I say need to, it's based on what's going on with the game. We're not all of a sudden just going to go tempo because we just want to go tempo. It has to give us an advantage. And when we're on the same page and we're being efficient in what we're doing and we're executing at a high level, that's what's most important, period. And so, we're still chasing that. We're not there. But changing the tempo does help. Or if you find yourself in a situation like we did in a 2-minute drill, we have to play on the ball. That's good. It keeps defenses, on their heels a little bit as a change-up. So, we'll keep looking at it. But we're not just going to do it to do it. I think, quite honestly, for the most part, the defenses and defensive coordinators really have caught up to just playing tempo all the time. They can see your formation and call your defense based on how you line up. And so that's where the coach-to-player communication sort of changed things. And all those things have combined to where we're at right now, and that's why we focus so much on efficiency. But we also want to be really explosive as well. So get back to work today and get after it.
Yeah. Work never stops. And the bottom line, like he's talking about, I mean, they've been very good at their approach so far.
Yeah.
And efficiency is the key word there.
Seems like he's gone from, hey, let's get the defense tongue wagging, and to now let's pull back, let's be fresh. We're going to play 1.5 games less than everybody else if we do this. He's in depth. It's all in the details, man.
Yeah, I like the huddle thing though. I said, my brother's always made me the quarterback, but and I love to play quarterback, whatever pickup game I was in, all the way through. I didn't play, like you said, like we say, organized football, but I just love the drawing it up when we'd play games down at Schiller Park and stuff, newspaper, and we'd split up. I will say this about me. I couldn't throw the ball 150 yards. I couldn't even throw the ball 50 yards, but I could throw it far enough, and number one, but number two, I loved that huddle when I was telling this guy to do that and this guy to do that. And sometimes I'd convene the huddle. I'd go blah, 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 blah. Same thing. Same play we just ran. You know what I mean? The only thing I didn't yell was Omaha, but I love that aspect of a quarterback being able to look at guys in the huddle.
Sure.
You don't have that much time, but you can always, but I just think the huddle just adds to the deliberateness, if that's the correct term, the deliberateness of an offense. And, oh no, what do they call now? Did they just call 2 plays? Am I going to have to get lined up quick? They're going to go tempo right after they run this play, right on it. Because how Ohio State likes to go tempo on occasion when they get a first down,
sure.
first down, because like you said, the tongue wagging aspect of it, you get a couple of first downs on a drive. Now all of a sudden the defense has either got a sub or the guys have got to stay in there. And And that's when you can really push and shove.
That's so funny. The pickup games we used to play after the news in the Channel 6 parking lot when it snowed heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't so bad if you took a spill. I mean, and the light, it was fantastic.
Dude,
My goodness, we played.
At the Dispatch, we played pickup roller chair football. Especially when they had this one floor where they cleared out a bunch of stuff. We'd go down there in between editions on Saturday nights. Yeah, Ray Stein, me, everybody who was there. We'd go down and have some knockdown dragouts on occasion in our roller chairs. And, I saw somebody doing that. I think it was a Peyton Manning commercial or something the other day, talking about going in and instilling some camaraderie or stuff at a workplace and stuff they're doing. I go, man, we invented that a long time ago. Yeah. I mean, we busted up some stuff, as the old saying goes. I'll never forget when we were just throwing passes, because I throw these little outcuts in the newsroom to Doug Bean or somebody, and just put it right on his hands. And I'm sitting there getting ready to throw one, and all of a sudden, blam! I'm into the this chest of drawers over here of metal filing cabinet, because Ray Stein had come off the edge, which we weren't even playing that kind of football, and knocked me silly, but I did complete the pass. So I stood in there. But yeah, but no, just to watch it. The way I think Julian's saying, man, he thrives as the guy. And I think he's become more and more the guy. If you're just watching just the
greater ownership.
Yeah, but just the body language, et cetera, of him and the team out there and stuff. I mean, he's not afraid to correct people. When they come to the sideline, things like that. I mean, I've been so impressed by him, but I think he's tailor-made for that role of huddle, throw the ball. We just cut your heart out with this throw. Now we're going to cut your kidneys out with this throw. You know what I mean? So like a surgeon. Notice I changed the word there. Yeah. But anyway, let's get to one more thing here before we get to the Maurice Hall extravaganza.
Sure.
Yeah, this question comes from friend of the show, Bill Rabinowitz, who we had it on, Buckeye Brotherhood, his latest book on the 2024 run to the championship. But I like the way he phrases this question while I'm leaving it in there.
I don't pretend to be a coach. I don't know what the scheme is on certain plays, but when I watched the game again, it looked like there were times that the offensive line just didn't block somebody. Somebody came off the edge. I don't know the scheme.
Sure.
And there were times that they just didn't get pushed. What's your kind of analysis or evaluation of the offensive line at this point?
Yeah, good question. I think like two plays in particular where we had a free runner and Bo, man, what two great runs he had on third down, man. The first one was what we call free safety mix. So the will blitz and the free safety came into the B gap. We had David in there tight. He usually handles any fourth defender over here. They did a nice job. They hit it inside, so David couldn't quite get to him. So that's a scheme issue. We actually blocked it pretty well, because once Bo kind of broke the tackle, he ended up making some yards there. And there was a couple others like that, and give them credit. They did a nice job with a couple of those things. I thought, we did overall handle some of that. Was a lot of movement up there. We early on, we ran a stretch play that Austin didn't quite get to the second level. The next time we ran the same one, he got to the second level on the same blitz, got to the backer, and it turned into an explosive run. So one of the things about the run game is, it does take time to take effect. We certainly wish that the first play, would have been part of our day, but it wasn't. So we had to regroup and come back after it. But we're just going to keep swinging on it, and it comes down to fundamentals. That's it. So we'll keep trying to figure out ways to be creative and create space and create explosion. But when it all comes down to the end, it's going to come down to fundamentals. And so, but yeah, I think there's positives, but there's also things we got to get better at.
By the way, it kind of morphs into what he thinks about the offensive line to this point. Because, see, the other team on defense, they're doing stuff to mess with you.
Yeah.
And occasionally they're going to strike gold. That's just the way it is. You keep panning, you may get a nugget or you may get a little speck, but you're going to get some gold occasionally. And to think that you're going to perfectly block every defense front, followed by incorporating a stunt, a loop, a blitz off the edge, a blitz up, like he said, up the B gap, that you're going to pick all that up every time is really really dreaming. It just doesn't
Maurice
happen.
Hall said the same thing
Yeah.
in our interview. Every play is designed to score a touchdown, but sometimes it's just 3 yards.
And every blitz, every defensive scheme is designed to
blow it up.
To blow it up. So let's get to what as Ryan kind of morphs into in essence, a review of the offensive line to this point.
All the changes on the, you've been pretty stable, obviously. Philip missed last week. Had you hoped that the line would be more consistent than it's been to this point?
No, I wouldn't say that. I always want them to be more consistent, yeah. But I can't sit here and say I'm disappointed right now. I'm encouraged with a lot of things that are going on up there. And if I thought it was, a real problem or a mess, I would address it. I know that we're going to get a lot more challenges here, and we're challenging these guys every day. And the backs need to continue to run better, and we need to continue to figure out ways to put them in a situation to be successful. And the angles of the blocks, we got to keep working on that. But no, I think they're grinding on it. They're working hard. 2 of the guys graded out a champion. The other guys didn't. We upped our ante on being a champion. It used to be over 80. This past week, now we're at 83% because we feel like we need to, increase our efficiency and execution. But I think there's a lot of good there. But certainly, we know what we need to, get in terms of winning a championship. So we want all those guys to grade out over 83%.
83%.
Up the ante.
Sounds like me in second year of Spanish in high school. Until I bared down. I had to bear down.
That's why I took Russian.
Yeah. Yeah, because nobody can tell whether you're saying it right or not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can just fake it like Robin Williams or something.
Spanish is easy. It's easy.
It's a romance language, man.
You cruise through it, no problem.
Nothing romantic about the Russian. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, it's just interesting as Ohio State, midweek, they're getting ready for another opponent. But the main thing they're also doing is trying to get better. Like Ryan Day said, it's always a competition, really, among themselves to be better this week, or be better each day than you were the day before, but to be better each game than you were the game before. Because college football, more than any other, no, I wouldn't say that. High school football is even more. It's even more. It's a development. It's a process, like the word is used, and you want to be introducing new things, getting better as the year goes on, and staying as healthy as possible. And the knock on wood for this football team, Ohio State, is it stayed pretty healthy. And then, like we said, Philip Daniels couldn't go last week as the starting right tackle, and Ian Moore stepped in there and played a very good game. I know I said that earlier, but that's what you, as a football coach, you like to see. You don't want to lose 3 or 4 or 5 guys a week, but you like seeing a guy finally getting his chance, proving not only to his fellow players and the coaches that he's been putting into work, but proving to himself what can happen if you're still hanging in there and putting in the work.
I think they want to walk off the practice field on Wednesday and feel like we've got 6, maybe 7 that are good to go.
Yeah.
That factors in.
You're talking about offensive line.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And so
same way on the defensive line, for that matter.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. But no, you're right. Go ahead with that thought.
Yeah, it's just so. Yeah, if you've gotten guys ready to play and you've got 6, I don't know. I mean, if we ask Coach Bowen, offensive line coach, I probably would want 8. But, at this point, as you get to the end of the season and who you can really count on, 7 would be a luxury, I would think. But if you got 6 and 6 are healthy, then you feel all right. We can mix and match.
Well, yeah. Bottom line is you don't want to be throwing your bucket down the well and coming up with a bucket full of dirt. You want water. Mm-hmm. And I think the depth of this well is showing itself as we speak. I mean, if Ethan Onianwa's coming on, look out, because that is a big thing coming on.
Well, he
is a huge human being who, if the fire is lit in the correct way and the consistency is there, could play a role, just like Tegra Shabola. It's just been a little inconsistent for Tegra Shabola from week to week, not necessarily always play to play. And so if that fire gets rekindled again in him, like he played in the playoffs last year, look out, right?
But Ian Moore is that's a great sign. I don't think he's played a lot of football until last week. So,
but you got to remember, you had two, based on the way the season ended last year, you had two new starters at each of the tackles. And then you had Luke Montgomery, who's playing at an extremely high level. Man.
You see him pancake these guys, some of these videos.
Yeah, but I mean, he just he's so into it. It's ridiculous.
He's
ruthless.
He's ruthless.
And then Carson Hinsman, we've said so much about him. And then, like I said, right guard, if they can get that really figured out. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with playing two, maybe even three guys there as the season rolls on. Nothing wrong at all with that. And just get the fire going. I mean, get the competition going within the game, and because if you can trust three guys to do what they're supposed to do, to pull when they're supposed to pull, to pick up that backside rusher when you run that one little pass program they run on occasion. If you can trust him, trust all three of them to do that, or try to to get there, then you got something going. If you can trust them, get out on the edge when you're pulling, right on down the line, and when you're running a stretch play, if they can get on down the line, I mean, you got things going for you. I mean, zone is so huge. Zone blocking is so huge with this team, but also, gap responsibilities. I mean, gap blocking is so huge too. So all of these guys are capable of it. And, you stood next to them. They're all physically.
Yeah. They all look at it. As long as that rotation is seamless. If you're, this guy for 3
years. It doesn't necessarily have to be seamless. It could be this guy blew a block on that last play. Get in there, man.
Yeah.
That's not seamless. That's like, what was that called? That fabric that heals itself, rip, tear. Anyway.
You got me.
Anyway. Well, speaking of gotcha.
All right.
Appreciate you going out and talking to,
good to see you. Great.
Maurice Hall, man, one of our favorite guys. Let's get to that little segment, but before we do, just kind of introduce this trailer we've got of his, give the name of the movie again. And I hope it's not based on when I got up when I was 12 years old and beat everybody up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to go in to see my drum set. I hope would be sitting around the tree. It wasn't there on that one particular Christmas.
Oh no.
And I went back to bed.
You just said
I was quite bummed. I'm sure this has another connotation, but go ahead.
Yeah. The name of the movie is #Worst Christmas Ever. It's about family. No family is perfect. I mean, you run into issues with this uncle and that uncle. And as I said in the interview, grandpa's out on the back porch and he's in the sauce, and or somebody says something wrong that kind of, oh my, we got to get this back on track. But he says it's about hopefulness. It's about family. It's a comedy. So I think you'll have fun. And so we do have a little bit of a trailer here, and you'll see Maurice, as I say in the interview, in his kind of snazzy green PJs. He's running around the house there. So take a look at that, and that'll give you an introduction to the worst Christmas ever.
What in God's name is that in my driveway?
Not my car.
Hey, Pops. They canceled our second flight.
No, Lee, do not do this to me. I can't be there with your mom and her new fiance any longer.
Hey, babe. My boo. Come on.
I guarantee there's not one bone of rhythm in that body. Oh, well, at least I know you didn't leave me for style. Look at his face. You're gonna cry. Did you call him Hun?
No, something's been different since Billy's been here.
Worst Christmas ever.
What's your name?
Harmony Davis.
Harmony Davis.
So my man been in Atlanta less than 24 hours to scoop up a honey.
She fine? She's funny.
Wendy Williams is funny. The next thing out your mouth is she got a great personality.
She's beautiful. You remembered my name. Just like I left a lasting impression.
Or maybe I'm just good with names.
You look like you need to cool down.
How are you feeling? It's family reunion.
I'm a little worried about my pops. It wasn't his decision to get the divorce.
You treat your dad like he's a stranger. He is.
This is about to be the worst Christmas ever.
You got a great opportunity to have a relationship with your kids.
I love you, Dad.
You have a better opportunity to be a great father. Maybe you'll have a better opportunity to be a whole whisperer for heaven.
No.
Challenge accepted.
I'm excited everyone's coming.
That makes one of us.
Have fun.
In Christmasville, everybody's welcome.
Have a Merry Christmas, brother.
Hey, my luggage.
Merry Christmas.
Looks like a fun time to be had by all. Right?
It is, and I think they had a lot of fun doing it, and it's another kind of step up on the rung for Maurice, who's
now, is this going to be in theaters? Where's this going to be? Is it going to be on the Hallmark Channel? I mean, what's it going to be where you can watch Christmas movies 24/7, 365?
I'm glad you asked. It premiered in LA on Monday night. So Thursday night, if you want to check it out, they've got 30 to 40 tickets left, he tells me. It'll be at Studio 35 on Indianola, very close to the Ohio State campus. And I was really enjoyed being there last night. Got to check out the place. I've been there 2 or 3 times earlier. Best popcorn you're ever going to eat. But there's a red carpet at 6. The movie will begin at 7:30, and they'll do a little post game on the flick where all the actors, not all the actors, 3 or 4 have come with Maurice for the debut. So you'll get to meet some of them, and I think it'll put a smile on your face. And as the co-writer said, if it doesn't, you're watching the wrong movie.
There you go. But we got a little scoop here, if that's what you want to call it. We got Maurice Hall talking about his movie.
There you go.
And brought to you courtesy of Clayton Hall, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to that excerpt, or not excerpt. Let's get to the interview with Mo Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Los Angeles, the city of angels, here he is from L.A. to Columbus.
That's right, baby.
Hometown guy.
That's it.
Now a director, producer, writer, and certainly an actor. It is Maurice Hall.
Yes, sir.
And did I hook you up initially in this game?
You hooked me up. I got into entertainment.
Come on.
Because of Clay Hall. Clay Hall gave me my first job after football. I had an opportunity to work as a sports analyst with Clay, and that's where I learned my stuff. And next thing you know, I'm in LA, baby.
No, that's not right. Remember that time we were finishing a pregame show, and I took off. I was racing you,
just thinking about
and
that.
You smoked me.
Oh,
you gave me
man,
a 30-yard.
I had to catch you.
I think you gave me a 30-yard head start.
That was in the horseshoe too.
It was
we had
South End.
Exactly.
It was fantastic. But you are here with the worst Christmas ever.
That's right.
And yet, it's so intriguing, the title. Tell me about the pride you must feel in bringing this to Columbus, Ohio, your very hometown, to debut on Thursday.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, it's something that, I've always wanted to do. We did something a little bit smaller back in 2017 with my first feature film, Baker's Man. But, this one, it's a fun-filled movie. It's a comedy. It's Christmas. It's holiday. Family, so it just feels great to just bring it back to Columbus, where I grew up, and really allow our community to enjoy it.
It's interesting. It's Veterans Month. It's Veterans Day when we're shooting this, and you have a lot of veteran presence in your company, right? Is that your production?
Yeah, so my company, Motivation Unlimited, we partnered with Patterson House Production, which is a great friend of mine, but also our co-writer, co-producer, co-director, who is also a veteran.
I see.
And our publicist as well is a veteran. So it all lines up. This is the perfect time to really celebrate them for all the things they've done for us, along with understand that we're still in the worst Christmas ever.
Well, I'll let you explain that here momentarily. But you have your hand in it's almost like the TV business now.
Yeah.
Multitasking to the max.
Yeah.
Producer, director, writer, and actor.
Yeah.
And we're going to see you in some kind of swanky green PJs in this flip, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
My fiance in the movie, Shanti Lowry, We have our matching PJs in the movie, and I thought we looked absolutely amazing in them. And I almost took them home after set, but when you have a Christmas movie, you got to bring the color, you got to bring the festive, and we did that for sure.
One of those roles you prefer over the others?
Ooh, it's hard to say. So the one thing I will say, I'm typically, what they always say, there's the funny guy and there's the straight guy. And I'm typically the straight guy. Okay. So in this one, I'm the other guy. I'm the funny guy. And so it was something different, something I felt like people will see me.
Exciting change,
and I felt like it worked out. We had a great showing last night in LA. For our premiere, and people gave a lot of great rave reviews about it.
Does that make you more marketable in a business that requires it?
Absolutely, because when I first moved there, it was like you can play the bouncer role, you can play security guard, and that was one reason why I got into writing and kind of producing my own things, because I was like, man, I don't want to just play the security guard or a police officer. What else can I do? So once we started writing, I was like, let's create some things that are just normal people.
Right.
And that's what we did. In this one, I'm working as a in-home, I don't want to say telemarketer, but it's kind of what I'm working from remote.
How has your background as an athlete, as a running back, on a big time program, how has that grind, embracing the grind, helped you in that industry out west?
Yeah, I think it's been such a parallel that it's helped me so much in that aspect. What I always say is, if you design, every designed offensive play, if it's executed effectively, it should be a touchdown. Right? But 99% of the time, it's like 3 yards here, 10 yards, and then eventually you break it for a long one, right? And that's kind of what my mindset has been. As long as I keep churning, keep going, keep working hard, make sure you're doing your job, right? Make sure you're getting better and you actually are a good actor or writer or whatever. And as long as you keep going, eventually you're going to get that opportunity where they say, oh, this is the one. And you get it, and that's, fortunately, I feel like we've got that, with this project and a couple more coming up.
I think once people see this, they'll relate to, because it's the families. No family is perfect.
100%.
You got this uncle doing this. You got that uncle.
Exactly.
Grandpa's in the whiskey out back.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about this film.
Yeah, so it's loosely based on a true story of my co-director Tony L. Patterson.
Okay.
So he had this experience where, his ex-wife and her new husband moved to Atlanta, and his 2 young adult kids wanted him to fly to Atlanta so they could still all spend Christmas together. So he flew to Atlanta to spend Christmas with his kids to find out both of their flights had been canceled.
Oh, no.
So then it was just him, his ex-wife, and her new fiance.
Oh, no.
And we expounded on the story from there, but it was... When he told me that, I said, that's a movie. And here we are, man. So super excited about it. And we have such an amazing cast with, Shanti Lowry, Taja V. Simpson, Bill Bellamy, Tamala Jones, and then obviously BJ Britt, who plays our main character. Everybody really dug in, and we had a lot of fun on set, for sure.
So some things go awry. I don't want you to give it away.
So many things go awry. I really can't wait for you to see it. But you get the various different circumstances. You get the father who has had a distant relationship with his children because all he did was work and he wasn't really there for them. And then you have the ex-wife who is almost afraid to move on because he's still a good guy and he hasn't really moved on, so it's making it harder for her to move on with the fiance, which is my character. So, and then you have my character who's a little insecure because you can tell there's still something there between them. But at the same time, it's like, that's my boo, so it's such a great dynamic of relationships in this movie. So I'm excited.
You get back much? I mean,
Man, not as much as I want to. Not as much as I want to because, now my mom moved out there with us. So that's obviously helps, with being. But I would love to get back more because every time I come here, man, I'm like, this is it. This is the play. It's still that nostalgic feel of like growing up here. And, I'm an inner city kid that, had an opportunity to go to the big school and all of that, so it's good to be back. I don't miss the cold though, I'll tell you that right now.
You stay in touch with some of the former players?
Yeah. So I talked to a couple people here and there, I obviously, during football season, I think we talk more.
Sure.
But, always try to reach out to people. We've got a lot of people in California too, honestly. Dante Whitner's there, and, Drew Carter actually just moved back to Ohio. So we try to keep in contact as much as we can.
You got to remember 02 pitch out Maurice Hall. 14-9 Buckeye. That resonates, doesn't it?
Oh man, that's somebody asked me about that and I said, I don't know, outside of maybe winning the Oscar, I don't know if there's another experience that's going to equate to that experience. Being in the horseshoe, 100,000 fans, like the adrenaline you get from that touchdown, that's a hard one to beat, man.
That lasts a while.
It is. I wonder what it was like from your side. Like,
just to know you,
right.
and for you to have that moment.
Yeah.
Because Claret had a lot of moments.
Exactly.
But here's Mo Hall, baby. 28?
Yeah. 28, baby.
I just remember John DeVar picked off by Will Allen, and I'm down in the corner, and we planned this, and we had the Fiesta Bowl guy with me, tear gas all around, and I said, I believe you have a message for Ohio State and Buckeye Nation. He goes, Clay, I'm telling you right now, Ohio State's coming to the desert, baby. and it's absolute pandemonium.
It was.
I mean, people are just...
Oh, man.
So I kind of felt I got that Maurice Hall affection. Right. The exclusive was fantastic. But, to be there in that moment, to climax the Tress
100%.
Turnaround. I know you will be excited probably to see some familiar faces.
Yeah.
Tell me what's happening on Thursday night.
Thursday. So right here at Studio 35, we're having our red carpet premiere. So we're rolling out the red carpet. We got our step and repeat. We have our meet and greet. Obviously, we brought some cast members with us.
Right.
And then from there, we're going to have the screening. And we actually have one of our hometown actors that came out to L.A. to shoot the movie with us. Her name's Jane Mauder. She was absolutely fantastic. You're going to love her in the movie. And she was actually the first person that I met when I took my acting class here in Columbus.
Oh, and really?
I saw her in that acting class, and I said, man, this woman is fantastic. And I've been wanting to work with her since.
She's got game.
Oh, she's so good. And, I'm fortunate enough that she was able to be in this project, and we'll see that tomorrow.
Tickets still available?
Tickets still available.
Okay.
Yes. So I think we're almost sold out. I think there's about 40, from what I heard as of yesterday, 40 tickets still available.
And that's what's showing with
that. So so the red carpet's at 6:00, and the actual screening starts at 7:30. So, and then we have a meet and greet before that for our VIPs. So if you want to be a VIP,
you meet the stars.
You can come meet the folks. And take some pictures, get some autographs, and we'll give you a little swag bag and some food as well. So definitely look forward to seeing everyone come and support and also enjoy a holiday film.
Wow. Maurice, man.
The man.
It's good to see you, buddy.
The man. Yes,
I'm so proud of you. Proud for you.
I appreciate that.
I hope this is a big step for you.
Absolutely.
And it kills.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I guess it would be time. Why don't you just send it back to Tim May? He's my. Do you remember Tim?
Oh, my guy, Tim May.
Yeah,
yes,
he's my partner. He's the leader of this delegation.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So just send it back, and then he'll continue the podcast.
There we go. So we're going to send it back right there to you, Tim May, and we'll see you soon.
Nice pass, nice pitch from Maurice Hall. That was the quadruple option there.
There you go. There you go.
Dude, there are guys that come along, they're become friends with, acquaintances with and stuff, and then there are guys past that, you just wish the best for them. Maurice Hall is the same guy today as when the first time I met him when he was like 17, 18 years old.
Right.
I mean, by same guy, I mean same personality. All the way through college, you know, he didn't become the superstar running back like a lot of people. Every time you get recruited by Ohio State, you got to figure that guy can be in the next superstar running back, right? Or player, whatever he plays.
Yeah.
He did end up being that guy, but he played his role, was a kick returner par excellence, but played that role. And so it's not surprising to see him playing roles
That's right.
as he moves on through life and keeping a stiff upper lip and getting after it and embracing whatever it is and then making his own way. Like we said a while ago,
That's it.
why be a background guy when you can write your own movie or be part of producing an own movie where you're the front guy? You know what I mean? If this band doesn't want you as its front man, go find another band, right?
That's it. Only
And
takes one to like you.
Exactly. And you never know when it's going to hit. And, you know, with his personality, I don't think Maurice should ever play a super bad guy, you know, because he's such a super good guy. You know, I know it's hard to say, but hard to figure. But it's kind of like, you know, I just thought it was pretty cool having him on, man. And
yeah, and he's got another project brewing, which I can't go into, but it'll be hitting next year, and that will be another step up for him. He doesn't believe it's been announced, but it's already in production. They've shot. I don't want to get too many details.
Yeah, there you go.
I might get in trouble.
Don't go too far down that lane. But bottom line is, it was cool. You know, we're going to come back Friday. We do 3 of these a week. I totally enjoy them. Like the Mondays with Matt, the Wednesdays with Mo. At least this Wednesday was with Mo.
Right.
And then we'll kind of look at the games coming up, not just for Ohio State, but around the country and stuff, that there's so many just twists and turns in this college football season.
Right.
A weekend you think wouldn't have much impact could have great impact, you know, just based on our team slipping. But you know what? Until next time, Clay, we'll see you then.